Well, good day to you all. Today we're going to be doing a very interesting video. Today we are going to be going over my future. And this is, so just to clarify, this is not like what I hope for my future at all. My hair looks terrible right now, ignore that. I don't know why I say that as if it doesn't always look like this. I don't even know what to do. Um, Anywho, this isn't what I hope my future looks like, but this is just like what I expect it to look like. So here's my prediction. Okay, I'm gonna predict my future right here. So first of all, prediction is I end up going to Purdue University. Right now I'm down to my top three. I really don't know which it's gonna be, but my prediction is that. So I'm gonna find a girlfriend freshman year of college. But then I get too comfortable in the relationship, and after a few months, I mess it up, I fuck it up, and it's done. But I'm not too bothered by it because I wasn't that invested in her as of yet. So I obviously it hurt, but not that crazy badly. Okay, so that's like freshman year splish. My brother graduates, which this is after my second year now, and he finds a job immediately after graduating. He's making solid money, and that makes my parents very proud. That's not important right now, but it will be in a minute. Um, I'm gonna find a girlfriend senior year, and I know I'm skipping through college. More is gonna happen obviously during college. Sorry, I hit the mic there. You okay? Yeah. More is gonna happen during college, but we're going to the big things, because most of my life happens at the end, So or later in life, middle age and stuff. So I find a girlfriend senior year. She's lovely. She's a pharmaceutical major, and I absolutely love her. And we continue dating after we graduate. We get an apartment together in Indianapolis. She finds a job very quickly because we're in the same year. She graduates and I graduate. We both graduate. She finds a job quickly, and I realize, shit, I haven't put nearly enough time into like career prep. So I struggle to find a job right out of college, right? And so, water break. Give me a second. I eventually find an accounting job after a little searching at an engineering company. And then she and I, a few years later, at 26 years old, we get married. We start to consider having children. And after a few years of working, I am now bored of my current job, and I decide to go into forensic accounting, which is a field right now that I'm interested in. But I won't go into it. I'll go into normal accounting for the engineering company if you're following along. Then eventually I get bored of that and decide, fuck it, I'm going to go back to my, original plan from high school, forensic accounting. But I'm making less money at this point, right? So now this starts to put tension on the idea of having children. So I still want to have our first child, but given the financial situation, my girlfriend is hesitant. Or sorry, now she's my wife. My wife is hesitant. We argue more and more until eventually I get a promotion at my job, and she becomes much less concerned about the financial aspect of having a child. So around 31 years old, now we're moving quick. We are moving quick, but there's a lot more happening. If I can go into detail in another video maybe, but this is the general, the gist of it. Um, at 31, we start trying for a child. And we move into a slightly larger apartment, because we're pretty confident we're going to be able to have a kid, but that doesn't work out so well, as you're going to see in a minute. We move into a slightly larger apartment, but we stay in Indianapolis. It takes us a long time, but 2 years later, at 33 years old, she is finally pregnant, and so we're thrilled, we're celebrating, whatever, and then after about 3 weeks after we find out she's pregnant, out of absolutely nowhere, her brother is arrested, and that pretty much puts her under tremendous stress. And now she's worried. She's frantic about that. She's trying to help her brother. She's trying to help him out however she can get him in contact with the lawyers she knows, figure things out. And because it was a drug related arrest, she, as a pharmacist, has some level of experience in that field. She feels she can help him out, but she needs to be there for him, and she has less time for me. She's always helping him out. She's not working as much. And we start arguing more because obviously this whole thing is putting stress on our relationship, on our marriage, and I'm scared now too. And I'm worried for her brother too, because he's family to me now, and I'm worried. She and I start to argue a lot more, and she starts to wonder now if it's a good time to have a child. And at this time, it's still possible to have an abortion. She's still at that point. She's not quite at the point where she can't anymore. So she says, "Is it the right time to really have a child?" And I remind her, we've been trying for a baby for so long, and I'm terrified that if we don't take this chance now, we might never get the chance again. Because we're only getting older. It's not going to get any easier. Um, if it took us 2 years now, from 31 to 33 years old, who knows how long it's going to take again. So I try to convince her. I respect her choice, but I try to convince her, please, let's just keep it. We'll work it out. She gets angry and she decides to abort the baby without telling me. And then eventually she does tell me, obviously, after the fact, after she did it. And I'm obviously, I'm upset at first. I'm in a fit of just panic. I'm like, they're in denial almost. I don't even know how to cope with this. But I do forgive her, and I accept that maybe it wasn't the right time. It was a difficult time, and I understand her situation. I understand why she did it. Things between us are tense, but over the next couple years, we rebuild our relationship and manage to kind of find each other again. And then after, by the time we're 35ish, we're doing well. Um, Now at this point, the tension's gone, and I decide it might be a good time to try again for a baby. We're 36 years old, and she's hesitant. Um, but I remind her that we're not getting any younger now. I really think we're ready, and I think we should do it. She says, I think she's still kind of just traumatized by everything that happened last time. It was a traumatic experience. It was terrible timing, and I think that just scared her away from the whole thing. And so no, she breaks down and she decides she needs a break from me. So she stays with her mother for a few weeks. While things, by the way, I forgot to mention this, shit at my job has not been going well. I got that promotion a while back. I said I've been making good money, but now there's a lot of layoffs going on around the office, and people are getting laid off left and right. I don't know if I'm going to be next, so I don't even tell her that, because I'm like, I still want to try for a baby. I don't want finances to get in the way of that. And I know it might not be the right time, but I at this point in my life, I'm immature. Even though I'm 36 years old, I want a child. And I'm scared we're never going to be able to have one if we don't now. And so I keep suggesting, but she leaves. Right? I said she stays with her mother for a few weeks, and she calls me from her mother's house and says she wants a divorce. Complete curveball. I was not ready for this. I didn't see it coming at all. Plot twist. She says she realized over the last few weeks staying with her mother that she's actually a lot happier without me, and that we really should have separated years ago. And that hits me right in the heart. And I'm now I'm in a midlife crisis. So I let her go without much of a fight. She comes back to collect her things and moves in with her mother. So I decide at this point, I'm still in this apartment. In Indy, this big apartment that was supposed to be for me and her and our child. I decided to go live with my sister in Colorado, so I get a place closer to her. Not a big place, not a nice place, but I make good money, so I can afford it. I can afford the move, and she and I, not me and my sister, but me and my ex-wife, we get things finalized with the divorce, and we don't put much of a fight up either way about finances, because we want to let things go on good terms, and our money, we figured it out pretty quickly, and so everything ended up being okay. Um, my sister helps me through the divorce and being closer to her. I become kind of a second father to her children over the years. It's not a little time skip again. I continue to help my sister out with her kids. She helps me out getting over my ex-wife. Um, Now I'm 43 years old. I adopt a 12-year-old turtle. But this is one of those turtles that it lives to like 150 years old on average, maybe even longer. And so out of the fear of loss that I have now gained throughout my life, I say I want something that will last, longer than me, something I can give on to to my sister's children. And so I adopt this turtle, this 12-year-old turtle, and I get all the licensure and stuff, and it takes a while. It's a lot of red tape, but I get this turtle, and it kind of becomes my life's mission to, I dedicate my life to taking care of it and teaching my sister's children how to take care of it. One of them, one of her sons, becomes very very into the turtle, and really takes an interest in it. So I help him, learn how to take care of it, especially. And at a certain point, as I'm around 45, I give up on love. I say, you know what, I give up. I'm not going to try to find a new wife. I'm done with all that. I've accepted I'm not going to be able to have kids ever. I commit my life to the turtle and to my sister's family. I quit my job because I realized I'm not going to need money. If I'm not going to have kids, I don't like my job anymore. I just want to, I start pretty much dedicating my life to doing more good in the world. And my sister and her husband get upset with me as I become more reliant on them for their money after I quit my job, but I remain dedicated to my newfound purposes. And pretty much at 55, I become a professor at a small local liberal arts college. I'm not going to spoil what I teach, but it's definitely a weird subject. And I start coaching their track and field throws team. Just going back to that, something that reminds me of my childhood, reminds me of high school. And the kids end up loving me, and the students, the athletes, everyone I get to know, they see me as kind of a local, not a local hero, but just a local, cool guy that they respect. And I try to help out where I can around town, doing local food drives and such, local charity work, helping out where I can. I kind of dedicate my life to that. For the rest of my life, I pretty much dedicate my life to to the college that I end up working at. My life kind of revolves around that college now. But also I help the world in a lot of ways. I dedicate my life to a multitude of national dilemmas, like the cost of healthcare, the housing crisis, the cost of college tuition. I help kids afford to go to this college. I help with track and field scholarships and stuff, but also just helping out however I can. Sometimes even just paying for kids' tuition straight up, with some of the money I have left over now from coaching and teaching and stuff. I live a very simple life, and for the rest of my life, I pretty much become a pillar of hope in my community, and I'm honored for my local good deeds. And then I die. I die at 68 years old. I wish I could have pushed it out to 69 because it would have been a lot funnier. But I die at 68. I'm satisfied with that because there's nobody I'm staying alive for really. But there are definitely people who are sad about my death. Like I said, I was a pillar of hope in my community, and people did love me. And I get a bench in my name at the college. Right across from the lake. And so yeah, well, not across from the lake, like on the side of the lake, like closest to the library, where there's like this biking and walking path with like this nice like shrubbery and stuff, and I get the bench like overviewing the lake kind of, and it's the side of the lake. The bench is on the side of the lake that less people are at, but it's by the library, which is kind of more representative of me, and it's also as close as you can really get to the track and field facilities, so it made sense for me, being the coach there. And it was a nice little bench. It was a good bench. Yeah, and that's my life. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my future. What it's pretty much inevitable. I'm pretty dead set on that's what's gonna happen. And I'm chill with that. Like that's a chill life. So if that's what ends up happening, that's not too bad. I'm satisfied with my life. Let me know if you think anything would be different. If there's anything that you're like, oh, you're wrong about that, Calvin. But I'm right. Like that's just what's gonna happen. And some of it might sound sad, but that's a go to life, dude. Like I'm satisfied with that. So yeah, that's my future. That's my function. Good luck, y'all. Yeah.